Lethality currently is one of the best stats in the game. It has made champions like Graves and Varus very strong in the current meta. But the one true abuser of lethality is Quinn. Back before lethality actually even got a damage buff, Quinn would already build items like Yumu's Ghostblade, Knight's Edge, and Duskblade of Drakthar. The lethality items were already items that she got. And while Graves and Varus did both always get items like Yumu's Ghostblade and Knight's Edge, they weren't always keen on rushing these items like Quinn was. Many players choose their champions based on what they see in professional play. With Quinn, it's very unlikely that you're gonna see her in professional play, due to the fact that every single team comp needs a tank in order for their team fighting to be better, due to the fact that tanks are very popular right now in competitive play, and also due to the fact that roaming is much more difficult when 5 players are on comms together. Solo queue, on the other hand, is a completely different story. Much more chaos, much less communication. This is why there are challenger players in every single major region who play Quinn right now. And here's why. Number one, Quinn's laning phase is oppressive. Every single ranged top laner has some level of oppression to their laning phase, but Quinn's is one of the best. Her level 2 power spike is insanely strong, and combined with a combat summoner spell, this can lead to an easy first blood on even some of the best players. Quinn's laning phase makes melee champions have difficulty just farming. Now, Quinn's biggest weakness in the laning phase, however, is getting ganked. Though Quinn is often seen as a very mobile champion, she actually isn't really that mobile. Without her ultimate, she has little to no mobility, and she doesn't really have a good way to escape ganks once you actually crowd control her. Even if a Quinn player has flash, that's not a guaranteed getaway when a tank has a lot of CC. Quinn's main objective is not to play for the lane. Quinn needs to roam because that's what she's best at. There are very few champions that can keep up with Quinn's pressure around the map. At level 6, coordinate with your jungler to go down bot lane. Go with your jungler to perform a 4-man gank, and this will pretty much almost always result in 2 kills. In the mid game, you're just looking to shove your wave and apply pressure to the other lanes. Simply not being on the map forces the other lanes to play safer, because they never know if Quinn is right behind them. Quinn is one of the best roamers, but she is also meant for split pushing. Quinn doesn't split push because she's actually looking to take multiple turrets. Quinn is looking to draw someone out to the lane that she's currently in, and then ulting towards the other side of the map where the enemy team is fighting. She's not actually looking to 1v1 or to even split push. She simply wants to create a situation in which the enemy thinks that they have an advantage. During team fights, even the best players tunnel in and don't look at the minimap. During these fights, Quinn is able to use her mobility and get into the backline. And that is your job in every single team fight. You are a dive bomber looking to assassinate. Don't use your ultimate to run up to the enemy squishies. Use it to look for flanks. Use it to look for backline engagements. Who cares about the front line? You just want the backline. As an assassin, if you can't assassinate these guys, you're not really doing your job. Now, mechanically speaking, Quinn is not really considered a difficult champion. Most of her kit is fairly straightforward, except for her E vault. If you're skilled enough, there are several mechanical outplays that you can make with this simple ability. First off, most people don't realize this, but her E is a disruption. You can cancel any type of dashing ability, even damaging dashing abilities such as Lee Sin Q or Jace Q. Not only will it cancel it, it'll remove the damage as well. If you're in a tight situation and need to get over something, you can position yourself next to a champion in a wall and use Vault to hop over that wall. This forces the enemy to overextend, to force summoner spells, to chase you, to put themselves in a disadvantaged situation so that they will die themselves. If you use Vault on someone over a wall, you will go over that wall yourself. If you vault someone while they're flashing, you will also follow them. In some scenarios, this can put you next to another squishy champion that you should be assassinating. And finally, if timed perfectly, Vault can be used to dodge crucial skill shots. During the animation while Quinn is hopping off of someone, she is still dashing forward and backward. This allows you to dodge critical skill shots that would otherwise kill you. Very difficult to do, very cool to look at. Now let's talk about her build. Every single major region has a slightly different way of playing Quinn. However, there is a general similarity. Start Longsword 3 potions or Longsword refillable, buy Serrated Dirk and Boots, go into Yumu's Ghostblade or Edge of Night, Duskblade, Rapid Fire Cannon, Static Shiv. Against tanky champions, you want Black Cleaver and Lord Dominic's. For defensive, expensive, you can get GA or Sterix Gauge, but this build, generally speaking, is the most popular Quinn build. It assassinates very well, it does a lot of damage, there are very few champions that can keep up with the lethality and the mobility. Now let's look at some alternatives. If you are against an AP champion that has an easy time bursting you, a Hex Drinker Rush is actually pretty decent. While Knight's Veil does provide ability power protection, Hex Drinker is much cheaper and provides that protection earlier on. This is Algorithm. He is currently ranked 50 on the Korean Challenger ladder. His Quinn build is not a traditional Quinn build. He still builds traditional items like Yumu's Ghostblade, but not all the time. In fact, only half of the time he actually gets that item. In other cases, Algorithm prefers to rush Black Cleaver or Mauve Malmortius, and then he goes into tank items like Deadman's Plate and Guardian Angels. This version of Quinn is still capable of assassinating targets, but she does it in a much slower manner because of Black Cleaver and Deadman's Plate. While Deadman's Plate damage portion only procs for melee champions, the extra 60 movement speed can make a difference. It should also be noted that he still buys Guardian Angels and Deadman's Plate even if he's snowballing and doing really well in the early game. One of the big problems with Quinn is that oftentimes when she goes to assassinate someone, she just dies while hopping in. Quinn has a very difficult time just tanking a hit, and when she's split pushing against tank champions, she has difficulty just living through them. This build is a little bit better for that. It shreds tanks much easier, and going in can be a little bit less punishing. For runes and masteries, go armor yellows, scaling magic resist blues, or scaling CDR blues, and either go full lethality marks and quints, or attack damage reds with attack speed quints. Lethality is better for assassinating people, and the attack speed version is a little bit better for your laning. For skills, if you're against a melee champion, put a point in E first. If you're against a ranged champion, put a point in Q first. Max Q, E, W. Masteries wise, everybody has about the same. Go 12, 18, 0, auto attack E, auto attack, procs Thunderlord super easily. You want double-edged sword for more early game damage, and you want assassin because, well, you're an assassin. All in all, Quinn is a great champion right now. Edge of Night and Yumu's Ghostblade both got small nerfs recently, and even though they got those small nerfs, Quinn is still a great champion. She can be somewhat difficult to play for those who are inexperienced at roaming, but those who are good at roaming will find that Bird Rengar is not a far off comparison to what she feels like right now. Quinn is the queen of lethality.